Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Straight Outta BS podcast. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. I really appreciate it. Thank you to anybody that's interacted with the videos. I really appreciated that too. Any Patreon members, anybody that's joined my channel, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. It really means the world to me. Donations are never expected, so when I get them, it's really, I really appreciate it. And 75% of that goes back into the podcast, and then 25% of it is reinvested. Like, I'll actually spend it on myself. So I'm just being transparent with y'all. And thank you for that. Links in the description for anybody that's interested in that kind of stuff. Please make sure you guys are continuing to like the videos. It really helps the algorithm. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. I've really worked hard at this, and I'm a one-man team, one-man powerhouse over here. So if you could hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already, and hit the comment. I'd love to say hello to you, and it would really help the algorithm. And that's something you can do for free, and it just takes less than 5 seconds. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I want to do a moment of silence for the person still struggling with intrusive thoughts or addiction or anything like that. So on the count of 3, I'm going to do a moment of silence. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for that. And without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce my guest for the day. Go ahead and introduce yourself and where you went and what years.
What's up, guys? I'm Rob Peterson, AcademyAtIvyRidge. I was Courage Family. Was sent there November of 2002, and left July 04.
Okay. And walk us through what led up to you being sent away, and like what led up to that.
So I was like that typical kid, quarterback, wrestling, hockey. I did it all kind of thing. But growing up, I was called the mayor. Friendly dude, always respectful towards elders and all that. And then I got more into skating and like one by one kind of pushed the sport out, and at the time my father was my father busted his ass to keep a roof over my head. Like, I got no bad blood there, but my dad worked nights. So I would literally get off the bus from school, and we'd meet at the corner kind of thing, like hug it out if he had not already left. And then it was me and my 18-year-old sister when I'm 14 years old, and we got the house. So we're like taking shots of Cuervo, playing Scrabble every night, just being knuckleheadish. And then it led to skipping school, and then we're like really just if I was at high school, I was in woodshop. Like, I used to go to my teacher and be like, listen, first day of school, like, love you, not trying to be a dick, not trying to piss you off during your classes. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. So I just won't be here. And if you need me, like, check Arrogance class, because I'll be in woodshop. And like, that's just, I made my own rules. Because I had no oversight. I had zero oversight. And it was easy. Like, but then, my dad got smart. He'd tell me I'm working a double, and all of a sudden be knocking on my door, and I'd be rolling a dupe with my 3 buddies in my room. And he started looking into things, and my parents were going through a divorce at the time, so I'd write notes down, harmful notes, smear them with blood. I was started cutting, and just really started going array. So my dad gave a shit. He started looking into things. I was smoking weed, selling weed. 15 years old, one of the most well-known guys in my town. And he one day found a suitcase in my closet, and it had all those notes in it. Had an ounce of weed in it. It had a rack of money in it, and I got sent to Monmouth Medical Center for the 10-day crisis unit. That whole thing.
5150 or
no, it was like it was
voluntary hold.
Yeah. I'm not sure the definition. It could be if it was at a hospital, and there was their crisis unit. You get that 10-day hold, whatever, 3-day hold.
Yeah.
depending on age and all that legalities.
Mhm.
But yeah, so 10th day, you know, I was gonna be going home, and there was a little white dude and big old black guy, and they said, "You're coming with me," and I'm like, "All right."
Yeah.
I don't know who you are. And the messed up thing was my aunt called the night before, and I was allowed phone calls in the hospital.
Yeah.
And she found out and she warned me. They said, "Rob, you got to get out of there. They're coming to get you."
Yeah.
And I didn't know what the fuck she was talking about. And then, you know, the whole like nurses watching me get upset, grabbing the phone, ripping me, putting me in the fucking padded room,
Yeah.
Thorazine, the whole nine. And then the next day I was on my trek to Ivy Ridge.
Okay. And so I take it you got transported then?
Yeah, I got transported. Kind of just one of those silent, like, you know, initially they take your shoelaces or take your shoes. It was cold and it was like winterish, so they just took my laces.
Yeah.
They pulled that little safety on the door so I couldn't be able to open it, but apparently they undid it because when we finally stopped like 6 hours into the trip, I went to go get out for the bathroom and I was able to open the door and he goes, "What the fuck?" But yeah, got transported. It was 11 and a half hour drive.
Okay. And do you remember them threatening to handcuff you or handcuffing you or anything like that?
Um, so the one guy had the cuffs in his hand,
Okay.
and he played, you know, whatever, and then you had the other guy go, "Listen, your dad's right here. You know, we're taking you. We're bringing you to your next facility. Yeah, we could do this easier, or you don't look like you're gonna be a tough guy. Yeah, just come with us. Go hug your dad again, and let's go." But it was apparent they were ready to, you know.
Okay.
And I just, you know, looked at my dad. I said, "What the fuck?" And then got in the car.
Okay. And what do you remember about when you first got to Ivy Ridge?
uh, it was shut down. It was literally like 9:04. Um, so I got in, if I remember correctly, it was Chris Showers was my intake for like quick, or it might have been Buki actually. But pretty much in, nice to meet you, cool. Walk down, you know, main hall towards dorm one. At my entry, girls were downstairs. So like, you know, you got past the shoe room type shit, made that left, and I got told head down, make a right, get up the steps. So immediately I meet Eddie, my hope buddy. Uh, love you, bro. Um, and you know he gives me a quick rundown on what the fuck's up, and I'm like, "Yo, where the fuck? Yo, what are we doing here?" He goes, "Listen, I'm not gonna be able to talk to you long because you're gonna be sleeping in the hall because you're new, whatever." So I didn't even get an intake really. I just got staff member like, "Hey, open your suitcase, grab those gray sweats, put them on," and just stood there, like didn't you know? Actually, I want to say he just made me like thumb my underwear type shit, but I didn't have to jump up and down or nothing like that. No bullshit. And I know there was things like that, so I'm not trying to talk about that lightly. But for me, you know, it was more just a quick get dressed. Then I got put in front of uh the two staff members at the end of the hall, right under the light, you know, and was told to go to bed. Now the fucked up thing was we had a fire alarm. Remember the alarms?
Yeah.
One went off. I got there at 9. One went off. It was like I don't know, like 11 or 1 or something like that. So immediately I'm like, what do I do? So I just go back to the one kid that fucking knows me, and he was like, "Bro, thank God you knew to come to me because I kind of forgot about you. Come here, stand in line." And it was 1, 2, do the count, and then back off to bed I went.
Okay. Do you remember them giving you any sort of physical rule manual or having like I know you said you talked to your buddy and he kind of showed you the ropes. But was there anybody that formally kind of went over rules with you and told you how things operated, or was it left to you to your own devices?
So not until really the next morning, and then I had Eddie, and that, that was really it. I got the dorm dad. I did the, okay. I heard the wake up. I figured, okay, now this is the okay, go find the kid again, because
Yeah.
remember, just the staff members walking up and down the hall, wake up. Okay, let's go. So I put my mattress and leaned against the wall, fucking went to find Eddie, and did the count, and off to freaking calisthenics, morning workout we went. Still no direction other than follow this kid right here. Or he's behind me, go. And then I remember for the first 4 workouts, I puked every fucking morning because I was always athletic. That shit was insane.
Yeah.
But no, still to first action of the next morning. No other direction other than, okay, these kids are doing this. I should just do that too. Other than that, no.
Okay. And how long after you got there did it take for things to fully sink in and for you to realize the gravity of the situation?
Oh, fucking immediately.
Okay. Do you remember there being a specific?
From that first entry of me, in Ogdensburg, New York, it's pitch black, and I'm walking into this building, and I'm quickly finding out what this place is about. Watching the key locks, being told what to do, being told how it's gonna go. And I wasn't that dude that was throwing elbows on the way in. Like, I wanted to figure it out just to be like, all right, let me see what's what and who's who here, and whatever. And then quickly realize, you got guys like Tulip, you got guys like Jay Finlinson that are walking around like this, that are going, oh, all right, I'm 98 pounds soaking wet,
Yeah.
So very quickly, especially, first, you do the calisthenics, then whatever, you go get washed up, that whole thing. And then you're either in the classroom or group or whatever, you get into your schedule. So, and then I had Miss Ann Morley as my family rep. And she is a whip snapper, just going to tell you how it is, tight upper lip lady. And she told me what my father told her, why I'm a prick, why I go to respond, tell me, don't talk. And eventually, I'm confiding in this woman months down the road type stuff. We'll get to that later. But she became a mother figure, but at the same time, because it was my only connection to my fucking family. But she, along with the dorm parents, consequence here, consequence here, consequence here. I'm like, what the fuck are these things? Very quickly,
Okay.
I realized.
Okay. And about how long after you got there did they give you your first phone call with your parents, or did you get one?
So I was there for 21, 22 months.
Okay.
And
Same amount of time as me.
yeah, and I got my first phone call when I finally got level 3 at 13 months.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Interesting. And how long after you got there did they put you through your first seminar? And what seminar was that? Orientation or discovery? Or do you remember?
It's actually, so I want to say I skipped orientation because orientation became a thing right after me.
Okay.
And I could be totally lying, but I remember staffing it, but I don't remember ever going to it. But I definitely, it was either orientation or discovery. I am aware of both of those seminars. Discovery definitely went to. And it was probably like 3 months, 2.5 months, 3 months until I got to discovery, because I remember I got lucky. Like, I just got there in time type thing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And how was your program overall? Was it easy for you to get points? Did you try to get points but would get consequence? Like, did you find yourself targeted, or did you just like not give a fuck about the program? It kind of sounds like you were kind of just trying to lay low. Am I correct?
Well, I went through the waves.
Okay.
Like as I said, I got my first phone call, so level 3 at 13 months.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I was doing well. Following the rules, and you follow the rules, and then you become that target right after you get off your buddy system, and you got some points. They get you down to 20. They make you bite your nails. You get back up to 100. Then they take them all, make you experience worksheets. It was a fucking cycle.
Yep.
All that, but then like we got dumb. Like I got a cat 4 tattooing when I had I was level 2. Gotten 2,000 points, but still haven't hit level 3 yet. And I got dropped to level 1, and then 0 points and put into worksheets, and then wound up in OP and became the tyrant for a little while. Laid on my face for days, weeks, in OP. Mostly because I couldn't fucking breathe because you're laying on the floor with your chin on there, and I have asthma, and they wouldn't give me my fucking inhaler. So constantly I'm freaking the fuck out on them, and I'm just like, just go down and get the fucking med cart. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
And then I get restrained and quickly give up because I was like, you guys are just gonna break my fucking neck. Then lay longer, and then finally, you restart the cycle. You go, all right, enough is enough. Get out of OP, do worksheet, and OP was intervention type thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Same thing.
Solitary confinement for people.
Except for no couch. I was before the fucking couches in there and chairs. You laid on your face, like you laid
Yeah.
on your face.
Yeah.
So eventually, freaking got out and finally got to level 3 at 13 months. Got my phone call. Got to 4 quickly. Got student council quickly. Got 5 quickly. Mostly I found out in my paperwork why, because my dad's like, yo, let's go. Like he's turning 18 soon, which is all part of their game too. Like it's all money and whatnot. But then, and stop me if I'm going too far, by the way.
No, you're totally.
But then I also, so at level 5, I was there 22 months. And the night that I was going on to going on my home pass, I was leaving for the airport, like, shit, 6 or 9 or more of the people I lived my whole program with were also leaving to go to the airport to PC3.
Mhm.
So I gave a whole bunch of letters to one of my buddies that love to death, and I said, after you guys graduate, pass these out. Well, that
Yeah.
plan didn't happen. They got passed out before they even hit PC3, and it got brought up in PC3.
Yeah.
So some of them defended me tooth and nail, got sent back. It was a huge bad thing. Cat 4 silence at the facility. And I was taking a nap at the time at my mother's house and expected to wake up at like 4 o'clock for a meeting with my father. And I woke up and it was 4:30, and I'm like, something's up. So I asked my mom, and I was like, what's going on? She goes, your dad's on his way. He'll tell you. And he was like, pack your shit. We got to go back. You're level 2. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So I go upstairs. I lock myself in the bathroom, and we're just talking through the door type shit. And he goes, Rob, let's go. And I just said, Dad, we've done a lot of work. Let's just start this right now. It's a stupid thing. These are my brothers and sisters. And it was the family plan thing. So okay, but they're F friends or D friends or. And I'm like, dude, gee, we've done so much work, and he held his fucking ground, dude. And so I told him, I said, listen, you're gonna have to hire transporters again. I turn 18 in 9 weeks, and you can hire transporters and I'll go. Yeah, but this time I'm gonna fucking fight them. And in 9 weeks, you're never gonna see me again. And that shit sucked. So it sorry.
No, you're fine. Totally fine, bro. Take your time. It's okay to cry, brother.
Oh, I know. I know. So so yeah, I just heard a huge sigh, and I heard him walking down the steps. So I stayed home. So I stayed, and as you and now this gets into like my entry of coming back into society. I did not go back. Um, that was a whole crazy, like, just getting thrown back into the mix. So now I didn't speak to my father, who I went to PC1 with, I went to PC2 with. He sent me there.
Yeah.
I didn't really talk to him very much at all for like 4 months. And I'm living with my mother that wanted nothing to do with the program. Very supportive, wrote me letters, all that. Got family rep and parent communication, like all that was fine. So involved but not programized.
Were
Um,
they divorced? Like, was it
yes,
just your dad's? Okay, so your
it was
dad's
final.
decision. Your
It
dad's
was
decision to send you there.
finalized while I was there. Yeah.
Okay.
So my dad had custodial custody of me, or 100%. To be honest, actually no, because I learned that they actually have 50% custody when I got my files. So technically, my contract is all bogus because
Yeah.
my mother's signatures were supposed to be on there and they're not.
Yeah.
So like I just, there's so many things. But yeah, so then it was, getting a job. I was a fucking cart guy turned register guy at ShopRite, at 17 and a half years old.
Hmm.
Quickly got my driver's permit, like maybe 2 months after, but I needed it to keep it for a year.
Yeah.
So I got my license at 19 then, pretty much. It was a slow set into society, but then quickly sped up. Um, I realized I couldn't live under my mom's roof with her rules.
Hmm.
Even though she was not programized, she still wanted me to, do what she wanted to do. And by then, I was level 5 student council at Ivy Ridge. So as much as I was being watched, at that point, I was like top tier fucking student. So
Yeah.
no, like, what I mean, Shelby, some of the staff would turn heads like if we were just being knuckleheadish, like at that point. But that
Yeah.
takes you fucking. It took me a lot of game playing and
Yeah.
bullshit to get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so even my mom's rules, I didn't want to follow.
Yeah.
So I just worked a lot and lived in a motel, and then finally bought a condo and found a girl, and my son was born. Like all by the time I was 20,
Wow.
I created my own life, and it was not all dirty hands, clean money. Yeah, I got worse when I got home. I did made stupid choices. Um, and luckily was able to pull myself out of everything myself. Um, and because I had my son. So he literally, I swear, he saved my life. Like I looked at him and I was like, I wonder what you really look like. And I heard myself say it and I got clean. um,
What hard drugs did you get into?
so I was selling a lot, way more than I was before Ivy Ridge, and also eating. At one point, I was eating like 10 to 15 pills a day of like quad stack, trip stack, like stupid shit, all uppers.
Yeah.
Hence why I have no teeth. We've talked about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Freaking yeah. So I mean, it got to the point where my son was recently born. I was starting to get the chest pains, and I told everybody I knew to forget I existed. And just withdrew. Like, I didn't think you could withdraw from ecstasy, and I can guarantee you can.
Yeah.
You
Well,
can.
it's the it's not just ecstasy. There's other stuff in there.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, it was just horrible. But no, I created my own life and own rules. That was important to me. Like, I get the control, and it wasn't shit. Uh, I cut corners, and I never learned the right way on some things because I was never taught, and that's another big battle for me, for like losing those 2 years of like shit I could have learned to be an adult, other than getting thrown in this building and walking straight line.
Yeah.
That part actually like hits me most sometimes. Because there's just stupid shit where I'm like, I should know how to do stuff like this, and I can't adult right now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely get it. What was first of all? Were you here? Were you at Ivy Ridge for the riot?
So I was not.
Okay.
People say that because of my Cat 4 silence, it drove like people 7 months later. Like, that was the initial beginning of like what pissed people off enough to actually fight back.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
somebody told me that.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, and I'm like, are you saying? They were like, yo, everybody got mad around that because it was like around Christmas time too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
I fucked like that one action fucked the facility up.
Okay. Interesting. What was the hardest part about being at Ivy Ridge for you, and how did you deal with it when you were there?
Um, I think that also comes in waves. I mean, just straight up missing, not even like my old life, but like missing my family. Um, I really didn't get to talk to my brothers and sisters at all. My brother and sister, at all, until like 15 or 16 months, or even my first off grounds at level 4. Like, I remember being down by Brave Courage room and worksheets, and knowing my family was showing up soon, and looking down the hall and just seeing my sister freaking burst through the doors like looking for me, and I just took off. So I would say like missing family, just not being home, missing my pets, like stuff like that, and then the constant like reminder that you're not fucking going home. You're not. Like,
Yeah.
everybody would just remind you of that constantly. You're
Yeah.
not fucking going home.
Yep. Did any of your credits transfer? Probably not, because none of them at Ivy Ridge transferred, correct?
So I'm the odd one. I had 1.5 credits left, and I went to Freehold Night School, and the transcripts were fine, and I actually have a diploma from the school, an adult night school, not like it's a diploma, not a GED. But like, I got that right before it was announced, when it was like they were not accredited, they were not a school, whatever. It was like 8 months after that all came out. So technically,
Yeah.
my fucking diploma is definitely fake, because those credits shouldn't have transferred, but technically I did receive a diploma, which I've never understood how. I've never understood how.
Well, I'm glad you did get a diploma. Most people
Yeah,
didn't. Um,
I know.
what was the stupidest thing you got a consequence for when you were there?
Oh my God.
You can name more than one too if you want to.
Yeah, like the stupid stuff was like, all right, so getting used to not being like Hope Buddy, and I can't talk freely. Like, in my first week, like, somebody would raise their hands, answer a question, and I'd like answer real quick for them. and just not realizing I wasn't supposed to fucking speak, but it
Yeah.
was like a technical question that like I knew the answer to,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Yo, self or staff it," and "Ah," and I'm like, do I do I raise my hand? Like, I I was just trying to help. Like now you're
Yeah.
telling me now you're training me not to fucking help anybody, not to be, you know, uh, just talk to people, like not use my voice at all. Then it was just the stupid stuff like freaking filling, or you can't fill your cup over the line. And, you fill your juice too high over the line, you lose 5 points. Dude, you can gain like 17 points a day, and
Yeah.
I can't fill my cup over the line for 5. That
Yeah.
um, oh, dude, like farting without permission,
Yeah.
like burping without permission.
Bodily functions.
I think Paxton gave me a fucking consequence for sneezing without permission once. Like, I'm like, how do you, that's an involuntary action. Like, how do you fucking ask permission for that? So, I don't know, that's just to name a few, but anything, oh my God, like everything was stupid. Then there was obviously like, don't curse out a fucking, like, there was the blatant BRV type shit. But like, unsat efforts I used to get all the time for like,
Yeah.
or like forgetting stuff, um, which I think was also an unsaid effort. I would get trends
Yeah.
of those for like days. But yeah, I don't know. There was just like I had peach fuzz that I've never shaved before, and I got an unsaid effort for hygiene for not shaving. I'm like, I've never shaved that. Can you teach me? Like,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Okay. And let's see. What was your first experience like in intervention? Like what did you go to intervention for the first time, if you remember? And like what were you thinking when you went to intervention the first time?
So when I got brought to intervention the first time, um, was I was actually doing good at first.
Hmm.
I was at PC1. I
Okay.
was in the seminar I was sitting in the cafeteria in front of my father, and he told me that I was staying until graduation. And I didn't say anything. I didn't say a word. I just sat there, went like this, and cried. And Miss Ann walked up and was like, "Rob, get up. We're all going back to the other dorm. Get up. Like, come on, walk." And I just wouldn't move. And Finney saw her commotion and fucking went, "Oh, you're coming with me, dude," and scooped me up and threw me in there and freaking pinned me with his knee in my back, just on my neck, grabbed one of my arms, and he was like, "I don't know what you're trying to play, dude. You're a liar. You're this, you're that." And I'm like, I didn't do anything, bro. I'm upset because I just got told I have to stay here with you, and I literally didn't say anything. And I've never, at that point in my program, I've never been in an intervention. So like, that's when I freaking got the Cat 4 tattooing and all the things, and stayed in there for a while. But like, I was terrified because the only other time that I fucking experienced intervention was Finney looking in the room and he goes, "You say that again, dude, I'm gonna throw this fucking chair at you." And it wasn't a chair. It was one of those built-in desk fucking chairs.
Yeah.
And all I heard was, "Fuck you, bro." And he goes, dude, I couldn't even blink. And this thing was getting thrown into that room one-handed. And you know those rooms. You
Yeah.
throw that fucking thing in that room, it's bouncing around the whole it's hitting you.
Yeah.
And so that technically was my first experience of freaking intervention. But yeah, having fucking Finney on my back, no backup staff called, like it was just him. And then he goes, "Now you just lay here, dude." And then he walked out the room and he goes, "Yo, you got one more in here." And I stayed in intervention for that first time like 6 hours, and I'm just I'm laying on my face, I'm whatever. And finally one of the step members comes in and was like, "What's your consequence?" And I go, "I don't know." I'm just in here. Like, I don't know. I was upset. So I had to stay with you motherfuckers, and I got fucking thrown in here. And it got figured out, and I was actually allowed to go back to my fucking family. But then, like, I was like, fuck this shit, I'm staying here. And that's when I lost all my points, got the Cat 4 tattoo, and wound up back in worksheets, then had my few week stay in intervention and bouncing back and forth from worksheets and whatnot, and just being a dick. So yeah, my first experience was like, I never knew really what to expect. So it was kind of fucked up because you just see the other guy like getting fucking thrown around over here, and you're like, okay, don't do what he's doing, like, you know.
Yeah. Okay. And what was your experience of the food there? Was it horrible? Was there some stuff you looked forward to? Was there some stuff that was bearable? How was
You
the
know,
food?
it's weird. Friggin' so some food was absolutely fucking horrible, and I would say like 82% of the menu was fucking horrible. But then there was like some of the stuff that you did kind of look forward to and whatnot. And for some odd reason, like, I eat oatmeal with brown sugar on occasion, and then, like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's
Yeah, yeah,
actual good oatmeal. It's not that shit tar fucking plastic shit that we used to eat. Like, you
yeah,
needed like a half a pound of brown sugar to make it edible.
yeah,
But then like forcefully fucking making liver and Brussels sprouts for us, like, and watching the whole room every fucking half hour just wanting to die eating the shit, like, that was unnecessary. Um, oh shit. I learned that I like to put dry cereal and yogurt there, or like the bran muffin, and you'd scoop it out and pour the milk in. But
yeah,
then they started giving consequences for doing stuff like no cereal in your yogurt. You can't do that. Like, they took all the good. Like, let me at least eat my fucking food the way I want it.
yeah,
You know. But like, it was like the shepherd's pie, which people hated. Like, I kind of like that. Um, but other than that, yeah, no. Like, there was a lot that was just like, this shit is. It's so heavy. Like, they're making me eat at least 80% of it, even if I fucking hate it.
yeah,
You until you got level 2, you couldn't even use salt, pepper, ketchup, or nothing like that. You know, you needed the condiments you got at level 2, 200 points. Um, so in the beginning, that was one thing in the beginning where I was like, I can't even fucking use salt. You kidding me? You're serious? I was like, okay, all right, shit. But yeah, I don't know. What did you like?
At the place I went to Spring Creek Lodge. I looked forward to the burritos on Thursday because they were like fat, especially if you worked kitchen. Because if you worked kitchen, then you got to fucking just eat as much as
Yeah.
you fucking wanted and
Well,
stuff your
level 3
face.
work in the kitchen was awesome.
Yeah, fucking love that. So pizza boats, burritos, pizza boats were on Friday. Those were good. You could dip them in the. I used to dip them in applesauce and then I would also like alternate between ranch and applesauce. If you were at like the right level, you got like actual ranch and whatnot. So pizza
Yeah.
boats, burritos. Um, on Sundays they had this fucking like they had these breakfast burritos that were fucking phenomenal. Like it was like eggs, sausage, cheese, I think potatoes.
You
Essentially
had
was
better.
that.
It sounds like you had better food.
Yeah, we had decent food.
So you're saying like yours was like Thursdays, Fridays, this and that. Ours was just, we got a 30-day menu out, and it was sporadic and whatever, and there was like, protein, vegetable, or double, but weird things. But I think every once in a while we'd have like soft tacos. Those were actually pretty good, but yeah, simple. And then pancake days I used to like, I remember, because
Yep.
the eggs were just like fucking powder egg type shit, trays of them. But yeah, when you work the kitchen or upper level work the kitchen, that shit was always the best.
Yeah, yeah, hands down. Um, did you spend any time in the no camera room? Did you have any experience in the no camera room when you were there?
So me personally, no, but I've definitely seen things. Um, I don't, nobody threw me in there or nothing like that, but I mean, I've watched a few people with Tulip and Mr. Eric back in the day, freaking, the Alpha staff grabbing a couple people and throwing them in there, and just hearing the walls bounce around type shit. Um, so yeah, I'm definitely aware of the room that you're talking about.
Okay. And did you witness or hear about or know about any grooming or sexual assault between staff and student or student on student when you were there?
So, male student to female student, there was a couple. Um, More like right on their exit type stuff, just
Mm-hmm.
random nights. Like, yo, I set it up. Like, we're fucking before I leave tonight. Like, um, then like while I was in there, you don't hear much about like the girl side. I didn't hear much about while I was in there. You can definitely. I had a few staff members kind of preying on me. Never got to anything because I never showed any fucking like willingness or whatever. Like, but I was aware of it. You
What
know.
kind of stuff? What kind of stuff would they be doing?
Oh, so this one staff member was always just eyeing me up and whatnot, and then like one day, Finny or Tulip told her to take me to this, I don't know, to bring me somewhere, just be my staff member. So
Yeah.
we're on our way there, and we're passing the cafeteria, main cafeteria with the main kitchen and all that. And she goes, "Here, come here." And we go into the big cooler room where all the candy bars were, and she has me like cornered, and she's like, "Take whatever you want," like, and just got me into this fucking room type shit. I'm just like, all right, and I grabbed one and I got like around her and back towards the door, and I'm like, let's go before whatever, because I felt like that was one of the situations where she would have went at me. But like I was aware of her, and same staff member is the one I'm saying, like, I know students have gotten with prior to their exit.
Start.
So
Was it starting with an A?
no, actually it was not.
Okay. Okay. And this was a staff member, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, and what was the worst thing that you saw, heard about, or experienced when you were there?
So there was like, well, actually, yeah, there was a runaway. So me and Anthony, he won't care if I tell the story. I'm allowed to use names, correct?
Yes, if you want to use names, it's totally fine.
Yeah. Me and Anthony and Rico, I love you, brother. We were staged up. There's a runaway. Me and him were level 5 student council. So at upper level, you're trained to go get them. On or off the property, you get them back.
What was their policy? What did they tell you? Like, I know you have to go get them, but did they, like, for example, at the place I went, they said, what happens in the woods stays in the woods. Like, if they're in the woods and you catch them, you got the shit beat out of you, type thing, by multiple people. What was their policy on runners? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to
It
straight.
was simply as simple as that. Go get them.
Okay.
But it didn't matter what, as long as you got them back, they just go get them.
Okay.
Like I've seen, so me and Anthony and Rico were staged up on Miss Ann Morley's property. We had a radio. We were on the bank of the St. Lawrence River to see if they were gonna try to dodge footsteps.
Yeah.
Um, like to walk the riverbank and then come back on. So we were staged at the river, and we were there. I mean, we were fucking there for hours, bro. Which, mind you, just the students off grounds, but no staff members, whatever. Then at one point, we were running through a field. Finlinson in his V10 Triton pickup truck, just going through the field. I'm like, yo, you might run him over. He's like, I don't fucking care, dude. And he's driving, whatever. Then finally, there's a call. They found him. and all the staff, and we hopped in a car, all the staff members run through to the location, and I just see this kid fucking um bleeding profusely get thrown into a fucking car, and I mean thrown into a fucking car. And I think he went to the hospital and went home that night, and I don't recall his name. But he was running through a field, and the hose that the tractors pull, it was
Yeah.
disconnected and like this, and he ran into it, and he had fucking a huge gash. And as we pulled up, we watched them fucking throwing him around and freaking whatever, and blood was all over the place. And they threw him in the car. That was the most fucked up thing I saw out of my whole stay. But then like the stupid shit, like I watched. There was a kid, Brad. I won't say his last name. We haven't really we haven't been in contact yet. Um, like he was a scratcher. Like he just got like kind of like the ticks. And he wasn't a mentally stable kid. He needed more help than that facility was able to give. And I watched him fucking get oven mitts put on his hands and duct taped and like all up his arms and stuff. And they say, don't touch your fucking hands, just leave it alone. And they'd leave it like that for like days, like make them shower and stuff like that, like stupid stuff. Like mind fucking fuck stuff.
Yeah, mind control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've witnessed people fake seizures, to get sent to the hospital to try to get out. I I watched so many fucking kids get tossed and hit on the head and like thrown down to where they hit their head or hit their head on the fucking radiator in intervention. Um, chairs get thrown, desks get thrown. Um, I've watched plenty.
Okay. Do you believe the staff got off on abusing the kids?
Some.
Yeah.
I would say I would say there was. I mean, there was like fucking a handful of our staff members that were definitely yacked the fuck out, coked up, on shift, in supervisor fucking stature, just walking around like juiced the fuck up. And then we had the kids that wanted to bark back if they would just be walking down the hall going ew, and you get the one to just look at them, and all of a sudden they're getting their heads cracked against the wall. It's like. So, but then you had the staff members that did their job and still were dicks at most of the time, but would fucking talk to you and be like, "Yo, you just gotta fucking chill out. Like, you're going over the top." Like, it would have a minuscule conversation with you, but then you had the alpha staff that just walked around getting off on fucking the girls first off, which just looking oh, head straight, fellas, and they're fucking eyeing up the girls. And or just they'd pick on the fucking biggest one or the smallest one, and that was their target for the day or the month if they were our dorm dad for the month, or just supervisor on shift.
Okay. And you got a life contract when you got home, right? Did you have one of those?
Technically yes, but we kind of didn't follow it since my own personal exit plan. But in my file it says Rob has chosen his own exit plan, which was the last page in it, which was actually kind of epic to me. But I yes, I do have a home plan and all that, and I went through that whole process. But since I left on my home pass and never came back, I kind of just we went with a really light version of it, just me and my mother, and tried to hold to that. And I was just like, nah, I can't do this. I'm out.
Yeah.
So yes, but no.
Okay. And you were on upper levels, right? So you had the consequence kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any guilt over that?
So actually, if you ask a lot of the kids that were lower level when I was upper level, they'll even say like I was that dude that like as long as you were like, yo, you're right, got up, wrote it out, I
Yep.
would freaking I would normally like rip it up.
Yep.
Or like or like if it was a cat too, I'd take that and be like, all right, cool. Now but I need you to self this cat one. Um so I'll drop it down to that. Because then, as upper levels we have to.
Yep.
So I still needed my count. And then, the kids that just want to be dicks about it, then I'm like, all right, now you have this. And that's how I
Yep.
get my count. But at the same time, like, for the kids that really held accountability, weren't an asshole, just understood, yeah, we created an understanding. But then there was the guys that just want to be asses, and you played the game, that you got your numbers on that. It sucks. Do I feel bad? I don't know. It's so hard to fucking answer that question, because obviously you do feel bad, but at the same time, it was like we were all playing our own game.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that day you were losing, and that's almost how you had to look at it to survive.
Yep. Exactly. Do you remember your I am statement?
I'm a strong. I have it somewhere. I'm a strong, confident, and handsome young man, I think.
Okay.
It's,
And
it's on an orange postcard. I can picture it. But
yeah.
yeah, I have it somewhere.
Okay. And do you remember anything about focus? Do you remember the lifeboat process at all?
So it's weird. Discovery, I remember a lot. Focus, the only thing I remember is the when they made you fucking
The
dress up,
stretch.
and yeah,
Yeah.
that's the main thing I remember about that one. But I don't remember really the lifeboat process now.
Okay. Do you remember what your stretch was?
I Feel Like a Woman by Shania Twain. I fucking put on pants that were 3 sizes too small for me, and a little halter top, and something else, and pretty much started a strip scene. It was horrible. It was absolutely fucking horrible.
I was Ricky Martin living La Vida Loca, and then after the program, I got heavy into hard drugs. So, what can you say? What can you say? It was,
Yeah, I mean, it was embarrassing as fuck at the moment. Now you look back at it and it's like, I have more trauma from what I've witnessed and all that than uh my skit. But like now, with that one thing, I could look back at that and laugh, because I'm not a sexuality driven person. Like, I don't care. Everybody, as long as you're not a dick, I'm not a dick kind of vibe. So I don't really give a fuck about that. But like, I like Discovery, beating that freaking talent until you were in a
yeah,
bloody pulp. Like, those are the things I remember from the seminars the most. Like, that shit was like, you just had nothing left in the tank type stuff.
do you remember feeling like high or just like I don't really know how to describe it, but like after you get out of a seminar, they called it like a seminar high. Do you
Oh
remember
yeah,
feeling that?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, friggin' so it was weird. It was like there's situations where I'm telling you, where you have to exert so much energy, or so much emotion, where they just have you screaming, and using every muscle in your body to exert as much energy as possible, to where it's almost like a fucking cleanse.
Yeah.
And you got this fucking
Forced
archetype.
cleanse, but it's a cleanse.
Right, or like you didn't want it, but here I am type shit. And then like you get out of there like, okay, I could take on the world.
Yeah.
And then it's like you get a cat too and you want to kill everybody, but
Yeah.
but yes, no, I definitely remember that.
Okay. Um, and reintegration into society. Or let's see. You already kind of talked about that a little bit. How did you get involved in I want to talk about your part in the program or whatnot. How did you get involved with that? And what was your experience of it?
So that's actually a funny statement. Um so there was obviously there was a group that was kind of talking about the documentary.
Yeah.
That got shut down in the first like day or two. It was the original one. That wasn't what I created. What happened was a local that has been in communication with us. I actually, it's the two girls that I gave flowers to at the protest. If you saw photos from there, um, they they were getting threatened by a staff member's daughter to take the page down. And I was in communication with them because I saw the group and I go, "Who are you?" I messaged the owner of the group. I said, "Who are you? I want to know who you are." And they told me, and I'm like, "Okay." And then we were in communication those first like 12 hours after the documentary came out. And I woke up to a message going, "I'm so sorry. I had to shut it down. They were threatening my kids." And I go, "Nope, fuck that." And I started the truth. Because I knew for a fact that that staff member and that staff member's daughter wouldn't come at me because that staff member was grooming me to stay there to marry her daughter. And I just knew they wouldn't fucking come at me. So that is literally how I started the group The Truth. Because it needed to stay. That like I so as I keep people up to date with the truth, and just big events like Sicker getting signed and stuff like that, I have fallen back a lot because I do feel like the majority of the what was needed at the time with the truth has come and gone. Like part of that group got created so the town didn't go and kill each other. Because I don't know if you remember those first couple weeks, bro, but like Molotov cocktails and shit were getting thrown like into staff members' houses and stuff. And
I
while
don't
I
doubt
keep it, yeah, it got crazy, dude. Like I didn't sleep for a couple days. Um, so I keep it informative, and I'm definitely gonna keep going with it. But like a good amount of that, even like my admin at the time said, like, listen, this group is wild. Like, how are you doing this alone? I go, I don't know. But then we got into just, these are the people that were actually like the alpha staff, and these are your neighbors, and this and that. But also we had to play the role of like, hey, don't go throwing like rocks at people's windows. Like, I need everybody to hunker down. Like, we're here to do it right. So it was almost like in help to control the peace over there, so we could do it right.
yeah.
Because I was telling people in our community, not the public up there, like, hey guys, like, not for nothing, we've had 20 years to go fucking knock on their door, kick their door in. You know what I mean? Now I want what they took from us. Like I want their time.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want. So if we're gonna do it that way, we're gonna have to make sure that the town's not burning each other down and all that. But starting the truth, that's why I started it, because I just knew that girl that was threatening the original group owners and that staff member, I knew they wouldn't come at me. So that's how the truth began.
Okay. And how is your relationship with your parents now? Have you talked to them about how the program affected you? Where are you at with your parents?
So I'm in great standing with my parents. My dad was a gung ho. Like, I went to golf outings after I left Ivy Ridge, up at Ivy Ridge with my father type shit, and he was up until March 10th. Friends with Shelby and Dave and all the people on Facebook. And then finally, he watched the program and he flew up. He was flying up here that weekend, and he was like, "Listen, I'm up north Jersey. I got you a room. Just come up here. spend the night. I'm like, I could drive home. He goes, no, it's gonna be an emotional night. Stay the night, no problem. We're gonna go out to dinner and talk. And I mean, he went from gung ho supporter, like he was the parent that if somebody needed to questions like, hey, I want to send my kid there, can I talk to you? They gave him my dad's number. Like he was that involved with the fucking program. And March 10th, he flipped the switch. And he is standing next to me, behind me, in front of me, with me through everything from here on out with what we're doing. So me and my father are perfectly great. Um, and my mother, I'm still 5 minutes from my mother. So, I was with her yesterday. Me and my mother, we've had rough spots, but all in good love, and we communicate great. She's still, I'm in great standings with both of my parents.
Okay. And if you could go back in a time machine and not go through Ivy Ridge, knowing what you know now, would you do it and why?
I don't know that I would. Because, like, did I need that? No. But it's a weird situation of I have met so many beautiful souls because of this, us all coming together. Like, that to take it all away and not have that possibly, that would suck for me. I have met so many great people along this journey. I have become a better person and not a dick and a compassionate person because of my journey. Was it all needed? Absolutely fucking not. Um, Other than if I could still have the beautiful people in my life that I have today, would I take it all back in a fucking heartbeat? Because my nightmares suck. But other than that, I wouldn't want to lose the people I have in my life today.
I feel that. I feel that 1,000%. What have you struggled with the most as a result of being in Ivy Ridge? What do you struggle with still to this day?
Oh God, authority. uh, no, I definitely do have a problem with authority. Luckily, I've normally been in a superintendent or supervisor or shop foreman role. No, dead serious, bro. Because I do have like I'm the guy that I'll delegate and I'll be like, well, listen, like
Yeah.
I've done this, like I'll help you. But once you get barking at me, then I have a problem with that.
Yep.
I have a big. Can you repeat the question one more time, though?
What have you struggled with the most as a result of the program? Like, what do you still struggle to this day with?
Yeah, yeah. So definitely authority. Also, like I'm not kidding about we were in there from 15 to 17. Like there are good life tools that I probably could have learned in that time frame that I just don't have. Like constantly fucking going, fuck, I forgot that bill. You know, I'm just not as organized or set up as I should have been, and then I've just been in literal survival mode ever since then. Uh so it's hard to learn those things sometimes. Um Once again, definitely authority. My biggest problem is letting myself be late, as fucked up as that sounds.
Yeah.
I am constantly high anxiety, like like this, um, and that literally turns into 20 other things of losing my fucking mind. Uh, it's a lot of that gave me issues from Ivy Ridge, like the you were on such a structure
Yeah.
that when you array from that for like it fucks with me. But mostly authority. I'm gonna stick with just that.
Okay. Okay. And what do you think would have helped you instead of being sent away?
As much as it sucks to say, like, my parents split up. My mom was the stay-at-home mom. So then when they split up and I couldn't live with mom because I was just, an asshole. I didn't have enough structure at my house. But once again, what was the question again?
So fuck, no, I forgot it.
What structure would you change, or?
Oh, yeah. What would have helped you instead of being sent away? Sorry, I blanked there for a
Yeah,
second.
no, I'm sorry. So a little bit more structure at the time. Not allowing me to change so many of my quick changes. Like when I say like I played every sport under the book.
Yeah.
Keeping me to some of that structure. Not allowing me to drastically drop off and change. Talking to me fucking more because I left being my mom and she was a stay-at-home mom to now living with my dad that when I got home was not home.
Yeah.
There was so much less communication and kind of like at that point I was a dick to my mom. Like I wasn't physical or nothing like that, but uh she couldn't control me type stuff, so she wasn't as in open communication with me either at the time. um so just a little bit more communication, a little bit more. I don't know, they did try to get me help, they tried to get me counseling. I took that as like getting shunned
Yeah.
at the time. Like, okay, we don't have time to fix your problem, so we're gonna get this stranger to do it. Which I then things got created from that. So
Yeah.
I don't know, just a little bit more like compassion, communication from them. But I also acknowledge the fact that they were going through a divorce, a rough fucking divorce at the time, and maybe they needed their own time to fucking deal with their shit. There's so much life that was happening at that point that I understand why it happened, but it would have been nice to just be able to sit down and like have open communication with one of them at that point.
Okay. Totally understandable. And is there anything else you want people to know about your experience or anything that you might tell a parent thinking about sending their kid to a place like this?
The one thing I'll say is if you're really looking into sending your child to any facility, the T.T.I industry, um, know your child isn't troubled. Uh, he or she or they are just looking for something, and help them find it. Do not send your kid away. Keep them local. Keep an open communication through their program. If there is any sign of no, you're not going to be able to speak to your child, that is not an acceptable facility for you. You should be highly involved in their rise, hands on, close to home. They don't need some fix that looks like a gold star because there is no such thing. There really isn't. And your involvement face to face with them during their rise is very important.
I completely agree. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And I want to extend an invitation if you ever want to come on and do a part 2, if there's stuff that comes up after this interview and you want to do a part 2 just to maybe catch up or maybe talk more about your life afterwards, that's totally open. My podcast is always open to you. And thanks again for coming on. I have you requested a few times, so I appreciate you coming on. There's several people that wanted to hear your story, so.
It's been great. Yeah, thank you for having me, and I'm definitely open to the next one, and then therefore after.
All right, for sure. Well, thank you so much again, and we'll be in touch about doing a part 2. I'll get in touch.
Sounds
And
great.
with that being said, thank you so much. And if you have watched so far in the video, please make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already. Leave a comment down below. And if you're interested in being interviewed, leave a comment down below and let me know. And if you just want to say hi, that's cool too. It really helps the algorithm. And with that being said, we will catch you on the next one. Peace out, y'all.